Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Greenfire. I've had some requests recently to showcase my playstyle and why it works so well for mediums. Seems like there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to play mediums. They use them too much like heavy tanks, take too much damage. So I'm going to show you a little bit of my conservative playstyle and why it works. Now, before we get into my playstyle and things like that, we really need to understand what a medium tank is. And to understand a medium tank, we need to look at the other tanks. So first off, what is a heavy tank? We've all seen heavy tanks, we know what they do. They're those slow, massive tanks on the battlefield. They're made to take hits. They have usually good armor. They sometimes have good guns, but because they're engaging their enemies usually under 100 meters, their guns really don't have to be that accurate. And they don't have to be a high rate of fire or too much high damage. They're usually right in the middle of other tanks. But what about light tanks? Light tanks we know have no armor usually. They're pretty fast, and their gun's not very good. Now I'm not talking about high-tier auto-loading light tanks. I'm talking about light tanks in the term as tanks that scout. They're not made to do a ton of damage. They're made to show the allies where the enemy is and take out artillery sometimes. Now that brings us to medium tanks. What really is a medium tank? Well, a medium tank fills in between a heavy tank and a light tank. It has a little bit of armor, usually is pretty maneuverable, and it has a good gun. Better than heavies sometimes, more accurate, and compared to a light tank, a medium tank is made to do damage. And if you compare a medium tank to a heavy tank, a medium tank just doesn't have the armor of a heavy tank. So now that we've compared those tanks, let's take a look at what some classic medium tanks are. We all know of the Russian medium tank line, famous in World War II, the German medium tanks, and also some of the American medium tanks, as I show here. But what are some other uncommon medium tanks? Now you're going to probably complain at me and say, Wargaming made these light tanks and heavy tanks and such, but we really need to look at these. Based off what we defined earlier, if we look at the AMX 1390, it has no armor, but it's pretty maneuverable and fast, and has a good gun that I would say is made for damage. So if we look at our definition that we said earlier, it looks like the AMX 1390 should be a medium tank, even though it's classified as a light tank. What about the AMX 50 series tanks? They're classified as heavy tanks, but they have very little armor compared for their tier. They're pretty maneuverable compared to other heavies, and their guns are seriously made for damage. So I would say that's a medium tank as well. And we can also compare that to the American T-57 heavy. And let's look at some mediums. They're not mediums. I just got one here, the Matilda. If you're a medium tank and you're slow, you have pretty good armor, but your gun is not very good, you really can't play it like a medium tank. So now that we've defined what really medium tanks are, how they play, how should we use them in a game? Now I've broken this up into two phases. The first phase, because you have such low armor, you cannot take hits at the start of a game. You gotta save your hit points, because then at the end of the game, you will have your speed, your hit points, and your good gun to help out. So right here, phase one, we want to protect the flank of heavies, protect our artillery, really just do some cleaning up in the middle of the map or other high priority places. We want to stay away from the concentration of enemy tanks. Now after 5 minutes or whatever like that, we can move into phase 2. Using our good speed, we can make this transition quickly. By saving our hit points, we can have high hit points and high speed, and we can really move right into attack mode and do a ton of damage. Now, I'm going to take these tanks out onto the battlefield, a few of them that I have, go live, and we'll just see what we can make of them. Okay, so the first tank I'll be taking out tonight is the T-28. The Russian Tier 4 medium tank. I still kept this tank all the way back from when I ground my way to the IS-7 a long time ago, and this has just been a solid tank that I like to play. It has very little armor. It can be one-shot by Hetzers, the Tier 4 German tank destroyer, and it has a very good gun. I compare it to the gun that is on the Churchill, about half a second slower reload time. It's 2.67 seconds, I believe. And I'm just throwing some equipment on here. This is my standard equipment that I bring to every tank. Camouflage net, binoculars and toolbox, free to move around, and let's get going here. So I've had this tank for about 350 games, the crew's up to 93%, and I've just had some incredible games in this tank. Almost 2,000 damage sometimes. I can just sit back, snipe my way. The penetration on the gun is very good. I love to play it. Really fits my playstyle. So, let's see, we got 51% chance to win. Looks like I'm one of the better players here. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to probably head left here, get up on the hill so I can snipe. I want to stay away from the forest. Now, when we're playing in medium tanks, especially a tank like this, we have very little armor. So we want to stay behind the farthest reaching of our tanks. So when our teammates move forwards, we need to stay behind there. Now, you can see here I'm moving forwards a little bit, sort of gaining my position. I know I don't have to get too far forwards here at the start. And I'm going to use my camo net binocs, sort of just take up a position here on the hill, see if I can get some good shots on the light tanks that are running for our base. And there's one right there. Oh, bad miss. And no damage. Hey, my team seems to be doing pretty well. So you can see that T-29 just took a shot, so I want to stay back here behind the farthest forward of my enemies. Or my allies, I mean. And you can see there's not too many enemies forward, so I'm going to see if I can get some shots out here. There's some damage. And I don't think that was one there. You can see the reload time on here is just very good. Penning a tier 5 Stug. And there's my first kill. You can see I hit him. So for now, as long as I have targets, I can pretty much just sit here and keep sniping. There's no need for me to move forwards or anything else. I could have had him. Now I really want to get shots on this AT2. Those guys are really tough to face later on in the game, so as long as we can snipe on them, I'd much prefer to do that. Bounced off him. I don't know how I got him there, but I did. So there's my second kill. My team is actually doing exceptionally well this game. So as long as there's no need to get forwards, if I have a good accurate gun like this, I can just keep on sniping. Now you can see my team has sort of gained some good positions on this side and in the middle. So I can just move up in here. I'm going to take a chance with this heavy tank. Guess he's going to fire at some other people. And I didn't get him there. I got that, yeah. So there's no need for me to move up. Again, I have an accurate gun, good rate of fire. So I'm just going to sit up here, wait for my guys to spot. Can't seem to pen this guy. There's one. Okay, I'm going to move on to some other targets. I'd like to move forward. Sometimes I might not be able to spot guys from way back here. But I don't want to get too close, because if I get too far down, I will not be able to see them because they have that hill in the forest. I got side shots here on the Churchill. I'll take these any day. And didn't kill that. 15 to 2. Looks like 650 damage, just about. And the enemy team was complaining about somebody cheating. Let's see how we did. 1076 XP, that's doubled for first victory. Team score, I'm 4th on the list. I could probably have moved up, you saw me. I didn't take any hits. Our team was doing well. I could have moved up just to get some more shots, but I'll take that much.